Welcome back to King Josiah TV, where this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. I am your host, Josiah, as an ambassador. But guys, before we get started, you know how I do it. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and smash the subscribe button before we get started. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give me that follow button. Let's get into it.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no tick-tock. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip-flops. Chris Rock, how they laughed at me. Tell Satan his plans won't prosper. Any demon on his roster. I'm profile. Child of God, forever the posture. I'm not the one you want to play with. God's favorite guy.
Whew. Didn't think I'd be covering this because it wasn't in today's show, but Diddy, guys, he got arrested. I didn't see that coming. I got on my phone yesterday and I seen this and I was like, sorry. My wife came home and I was like, yo, you know, Diddy got arrested. No, I didn't hear about that. I had to drink some coffee. We gonna talk on it. Okay. All right. So Diddy got arrested. He's in custody now. Of course, we didn't see any footage or anything out pertaining to it. I thought we would see some sort of like footage or something of it occurring. But I wanted to talk about, they actually came out and they brought out all the case information and the files that they've been building on him. And some of the stuff in here is very interesting. I'm surprised they even shared this publicly. But I mean, you do heinous crimes like this, like trafficking and the things that Diddy was into and harming women and being physical with people, putting them down for days at a time where they had to recover from the beatings and things that he did to people, namely women, it seems, namely women. I think your dirty laundry should be in the public, but guys, we're going to wrap this up with some scripture as well, pertaining to this Diddy situation, and giving us our biblical view on how we should look at situations like this and not just lay the blame on Diddy and point the finger and be like, we knew it. But let's go ahead and pull this up. Just a moment. I'm gonna play a little bit of the pretty much the investigation for this. 1 second. This is the prosecutors, they're outlining things that they found. So
today, I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2000.
I'm gonna keep letting it play, but man, you hear what they're saying? This is a RICO charge. Like, I don't see him beating this. I really don't. Like, they've got so much on him. There's so many people coming forward, and there's people coming forward. I know they're just trying to get a check. They just trying to, but this is big. Like, this looks like this is just gonna, like, it looks like, oh, this is coming on Diddy, but no, this is gonna affect everybody in connection with him that has had some type of involvement. Homeland Security and all that are on this. They're not just after Diddy. I can tell you that right now. There's other people's lives that are going to be affected more than Diddy. That's why this whole situation is a tragedy.
2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force.
And was that I think her name is Tasha Wright, or her last name is Wright. She's been posting a lot of videos on like TikTok, and she's got a whole like hour-long interview that she's been talking about Miss Wright. She was right about all this. And even his security guard that came out recently, and he predicted that before Labor Day that he would get arrested, that certain things would happen. Look where we are now. Guys, there's just all the rumors and things we've heard about and that people have been skeptical about. People been trying to say, is it real? Is it not? We've realized these things about Diddy, they're coming to the light. And we're going to talk about things coming to the light here in a moment.
Threats of force and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex.
That's one of the things that surprised me. They said that the majority of these workers were all male. All the sex workers were male. The workers that he was, sex workers that he was transporting across state lines were all male. Speaks to another thing that we've been questioning, is sexuality.
Performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their.
And you guys know what he's talking about there. He's talking about the Cassie, where he did the video that dropped, I think it was like 2 months ago or something, that dropped, and he was in the hotel with her, and she runs out the room, and he drop kicks her in the face, drags her by her hair. I believe that's what he's referring to.
Their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse.
Something about when people get money and they think that they're God. Like, I mean, he's completely, you can tell he was brainwashing these people. He was controlling them based off of his power, his money, and his influence.
The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Wow. Like, that was a lot, guys. Like I said, Diddy is in a world of trouble. I don't see, again, how he's remotely gonna make his way out of that. But I mean, as we've seen, he obviously had his time to change, had his time to be a different person, and decided not to. I wanted to bring this topic up, not just to talk about a hot topic, or not just to talk about something in the news, because originally this wasn't in my show, as I mentioned. I wasn't going to cover it, but I believe as believers and even ones outside of it, this is something we can glean from this. The first verse that I want to read from is in Luke 18. And it talks about things being brought to the light that I was talking about earlier. No one lights a lamp and hides it in a clay jar or puts it under a bed. Instead, they put it on a stand so that those who come can see the light, for there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Therefore, consider carefully how you listen. Whoever will be given more, whoever does not have, even they think that they will be taken from them. And pretty much we know what I caught from that is, and what I'm pretty much trying to hint at here is that regardless of what we do, whether you've got a secret sin that you're struggling with, we all got stuff. I struggle with stuff. You know what I mean? Or whether it be something that you're openly doing and continually doing it and you've gotten away with it, God, you're either going to be judged on this side of eternity or the other. Let's not be so, what's the word? Prideful that we've gotten away with something for so long that eventually God's not going to see it, or eventually we're not going to be caught for that. That's why I think this is the thing to learn from Diddy, is to learn that just because you've got clout, just because you've got away with something, or just because something's been easy for you to do, or people have allowed you to get away with these things, it's eventually going to come to the light. It's eventually going to be exposed in this world or the next. So it's important for us to these things that we're struggling with, these and Diddy's, all these sex trafficking things and the things with women and all that. I believe all that comes from different traumas, certain addictions and things, sex addictions, things that he had that he never dealt with, that he kept indulging and going further and further. As my father used to tell me, the devil plays for keeps. There's no way that Diddy was like that since he was younger. No, he probably started off with having some big sexual desires. It probably was, I don't know his life, but it was probably some sexual things that happened when he was younger. He may have gotten to pornography, got a few women that were willing to do certain things with him, started exploring with men, and it just kept going and going and going. The devil will take one thing of you, one Achilles heel of you, and he will exploit it. And you think, oh, I'm just going to do this for a little bit and I'm going to be out of it. No, by the time you look up, when the devil gets you to bite on the bait that he's got you to bite on, you've looked up, you've been in it for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And you're so deep in it that when you look up, you don't know who you are, how long you've been there, and you're disgusted at how far you've gone. I can experience that personally. The devil plays for keeps, guys, and he will take you to the depths of places you never thought you would go, just because you're fulfilling your own desires. So guys, I'm going to pull up another verse here in Luke, guys, and we're about to wrap this up. But just a second. So here we go. This is Luke. Switch my screens. This is Luke 12, 2 and 3. Therefore, there is nothing concealed that will be disclosed, or hidden that will not be known. Again, guys, you can't hide anything. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed on the rooftops. The word is saying, God is saying, you're not getting away with it. You're not. Don't point the fingers at Diddy. Talk about how bad he was and everything he's been up to. This is a time point of reflection. This is a time point where you need to look at yourself and see the things that you need to change. See the things that God needs to ring out in your heart. And only God and only the Holy Spirit can help you through that. So I urge you guys to work on that. I urge, and I'm even talking to myself right now, guys. I'm preaching to myself. I urge you to let God ring out your heart. Open up the scriptures. Allow God to witness to you and ask him, what's in my heart that's not of you? What have I not let go of? What are things in me that I'm holding captive, that I'm not releasing because I think I'm getting away with them, or because I think I haven't been reprimanded for them yet? Because I'm gonna have to answer for that. As God says, it's going to be proclaimed on the rooftops. What you've done in the inner room will be spoken of, will be brought to the light. You can't hide it for forever. Now, before we get out of here, guys, just want to, as I always say, if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Please give me a like, share this video with somebody that it might encourage or might, bring them closer to Christ, guys. And if you're listening audibly on YouTube, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me that follow button, guys. I will see you in next week's podcast. Love you. Appreciate you. Bye.
But my salvation on me like it's a helmet. The way you to sin is death for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was rebellious.